still tuned into your favorite breakfast show on Nigeria's first full HD television. Now, the conversation continues on careers in the tech space, and we have a software engineer in the name and person of Ayomide Aregbede on set with us this morning. Good morning, Ayomide. How
Yeah,
are
good
you
morning,
doing?
Nadine. I'm good.
All right, so let's talk tech, basically this morning, right?
Yeah.
All right, so what is the tech industry like? What is the tech space like in Nigeria today?
Okay, I feel it's still pretty much young.
Okay,
That's even if you consider the economics,
yeah,
consider startup funding, consider the number of startups we have in Nigeria. That's if you're comparing it to bigger stages like Silicon Valley and stuff, it's
yeah.
still very young. We can argue that we are still in our formative years and stuff. So still, we are still growing very fast,
Yeah.
and that just shows the aggressiveness of Nigerians and stuff. So I feel that in general, economically, when it comes to the size of startups we have, the quality of engineers we have, the amount of engineers or even people within the industry, we are still very young. And if things go well, if we have the right policies from the government and stuff, then we have a long future in Nigeria. And it would definitely be the industry that employs the highest number of Nigerian youths. So.
Fantastic. All right. All right. So Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, came to Nigeria came to Lagos actually to see what was going on in the tech space, and I know that he also invested in some of the tech startups that are here. We know with tech startups also like Paystack and Abeg, it's good. It's quite interesting to see what that these startups are being birthed from Nigeria. All right. So let's now talk about working career in the tech space. What sorts of jobs are there in the tech space?
Oh, okay. So I'll start with my job, which
Okay,
is
okay.
writing code, which is the poster child of jobs in tech space. So
Yeah,
when people talk about getting a tech job, they are always talking about writing code and stuff. But outside code, even within code, we have different aspects. We have people who build the mobile apps we use. We
yeah.
have people who build the web apps we use. We have the guys who work on the back end. We have the guys who manage cloud infrastructure. It's just like the way we have in
Yeah.
medicine, where you have specializations, you have like general medical doctor and you have like
Right.
specializations and stuff. But outside writing code, you have people in marketing, digital marketers, you have people in communication, you have people in client facing roles like customer service, customer support. You have people even play with data, machine learning guys and stuff like that. So I think and we have all of these opportunities even in Nigeria. So they're not just limited to bigger or more stable
Yeah.
ecosystems like Silicon Valley. I think almost every startup in Nigeria hires around these roles. So
Right, right. Okay. So, job hunting in Nigeria for a tech job, how can one stand out from the rest? Because, I know a lot of people are now learning coding. There are a lot of people are into communications now, digital marketing, and all of these kind of things. How can one set himself apart in the tech world when he's looking for a job?
okay, so I think we are not yet at that stage
Okay.
where you really have to do a lot to set yourself apart. If you stay on Twitter a lot and follow Nigerian tech founders or people in HR or people just hiring managers, you find out that these guys are complaining every day that they can't get qualified talent. These guys are
Wow.
complaining. These guys are the biggest hot thing now is that founders are poaching people from other startups. Like even friends, I'm poaching someone from your startup and stuff like that. That's because we don't have qualified hands. When people get qualified or when people become senior engineers or experts in their field, the next thing they japa, they're out of Nigeria. So we
That's
still,
interesting.
yeah. So we still have a lot of vacancies in tech. So I feel the core thing you can do to stand out is be qualified.
Right.
That's very broad because it's specific to the roles you're applying for. But I think the easiest thing you can do is just be qualified. Be aggressive about upskilling. Look at, and one of the things I advise people to do is look at job vacancies for the role you're interested in. Look at the must-have skills there and aggressively study in the early days of building your tech career. And yes, in the long term, people advise that you sleep very early. It's advised generally that you
Yeah.
sleep very early. But in the early days of building a tech career, you can ask most of the people who are senior engineers or digital marketers and stuff, they had a lot of sleepless nights in the early days of their career. I still even have sleepless nights till now. A lot of people still even have sleepless nights, even experts, and that's
Yeah.
because you need to be aggressive about upscaling. You need to be
Yeah.
aggressive about learning new things, about being the space is moving fast, so you have to
Right.
move faster than the space. You
Yeah.
can't be a step behind. You have to move at the same space that everything is moving in the industry. So then the next thing might be maybe soft skills.
Okay.
And I've had the opportunity to interview Nigerians for Nigerian startups, and I've had the opportunity to interview Nigerians for startups outside Nigeria. And I would say our biggest issue for most people is technical skills. But after technical skills, you have people who are very unprepared for interviews. So you have an interview for, let's say, 9:45 a.m. and you don't pre-test your internet connection. You don't ensure that you have good lights where you are. You don't ensure that you maybe have power and stuff like that. I know these are issues we face in Nigeria, but a lot of people are really not prepared for interviews. You see someone on an interview and you can barely see the applicant's face, and that's
Right.
because either the person didn't even care about getting good lights, the person just at home at any random space at the house. So I think people should be more prepared for interviews. You could be very qualified, have the technical skills, but just turn off the person who is interviewing you. Like, he just feels that you're not prepared for the job and you might bring this kind of sharpness to the job, and though you're qualified, they just skip you. Then another thing that we make mistakes with in Nigeria is communication. And I think that's
Okay.
finds its roots in maybe our primary and secondary education. If you went to like an ideal primary school or secondary school in Nigeria, the highest form of communication in school was debates, and that was for the select few.
Yeah.
Many of us did not have the opportunity to express ourselves. We didn't really do projects that forced us to do presentations and stuff. So my advice usually to people is to focus on presenting themselves. Try it, experiment with your friends. Talk about what you do, talk about stuff you're learning every day or every week with a friend. You can have a group of friends in their early days where you guys just keep talking about what you've learned that week. It allows you to grow the courage and the confidence to present yourself, to be able
Yeah.
to communicate clearly. So
Yeah.
I feel those are things you can do to stand out.
All right, so I find this the comment you made on there seems to be a lot of people who are not qualified that are in some of these jobs. So does that mean that there needs to be something needs to change in our education space in the country? Maybe does there need to be more awareness or tech courses? How can that situation be remedied?
Okay, so I'm going to use myself as an example
Okay.
here. I started learning how to code in school,
All right.
and I don't know if you use this BlackBerry Curve 7 or so. So I
Yeah.
had like this crazy BlackBerry,
Right.
and I had to use a paper to hold the battery firm
Okay.
to the
Right.
yeah.
Right.
And I had like a very, very shabby system. I had to even steal the laptop from my dad because I
Yeah.
was really interested in learning code. So we didn't have lights. I had to go to school, stay in school from like 10 p.m. to like 1 a.m. just to get access to electricity to do stuff. And when I leave school, like imagine walking from school back to your hostel that's like maybe like 10 kilometers away from school at night around 1 a.m. just because you want to learn how to write code. And when I get home, my phone is not working because either the batteries, you know how it takes for
Yeah.
BlackBerry to come off and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So that was how I learned.
Yeah.
And then we didn't really even have the kind of internet access we have now. Then it was really hard to even get 10 MB, 15 MB, at least for me. We have different financial
Right.
situations and stuff. So, but that was how I learned how to
Yeah.
write code. Nobody taught me. I didn't even have paid courses. I just learned from YouTube and from PDFs on torrent sites and stuff. So I feel, yes, there is a big problem with our educational system. If you hear my story that I just said now, people would want to sell it. People would feel it's a heroic. People would say it's a big story.
Yeah.
It's a story to inspire people. But I feel it's not, and it shouldn't be like that. It's bad.
All right.
It's terrible that I had to go through that to learn a skill when I was in the university for 5 years. What was I doing in the university for 5 years? So I feel we should fix the problem from, at the very least, from the university system.
Yeah.
People shouldn't have to spend 4 to 5 years, then come out of the university and still spend 4 to 5 years rebuilding their skills. So that's the reason why we don't have qualified talent. And a lot of people are trying to fix the tree by cutting the branches and just ignore the roots or even the stem.
Yeah.
The stem is the university system, which is if people spend 5 years in the university to learn a skill, they should come out of the university with the technical skills and get a job as an intern to learn the professional skills.
Yeah.
So I don't expect the university to teach professional skills, but I expect the universities to teach technical skills. But what you have is people spending about 8 years to get a job. So you spend 5 years in the university to learn almost nothing. Then you spend 3 years after the university to now become ready to start
skills
your
and
professional
all of that.
career and stuff. So I feel we need to fix that. But honestly, you can't fix the university system in Nigeria. So my advice to people would be, if you're still in the university, then try your best to find time, even if it's your weekend. And this would tie into the reason why people feel tech people work too much and stuff. So try your best to use your weekends to learn a digital skill if you're still in the university. And if you're outside the university, you just have to be aggressive about learning. Use opportunities like Angela's learning community, courses on Udemy and stuff. But I don't think the issue is with availability of courses.
Okay.
It might be people not being aware of the courses that exist, but I think the root cause is the time people have to learn.
Yeah.
People have to learn when they're done with the university and when they already have societal pressure on them to survive, societal pressure on them to handle their source of living
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. So one of the myths we looked at this morning, when we're looking at myth about tech jobs, is that it's actually expensive to learn how to code. For instance, it's actually expensive to get skills to equip you for a tech career. Is that true?
No, it's not.
Okay.
So, again, it's relative.
Okay.
For a person that paid his education through hawking on the streets or selling stuff on the streets, then yes, it's expensive because you have to raise about 70 to 150K to get a laptop.
Yeah.
So it's relative. But most people who say this have laptops. So for me, what you need, what you need is laptop and internet access and time. So
Okay.
why people say it's expensive is usually a factor of time. Like you're done with school. So like I was very fortunate. I started like in 200 level I started looking at tech in 200 level and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I had like 3 years in school to focus on my tech career, and at that point I didn't even care about school because
Yeah.
I knew this was what I was going to do when I was
Yeah.
done with school. But when you're starting after school, it's really difficult. Time is now expensive. You're under a lot of pressure, especially when you see your friends landing jobs or you see your friends relocating abroad and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So you're under a lot of pressure, and that's why you now say it's expensive. It's expensive because you have a full-time job and you have to take the little time you have from, especially if you live in Lagos, where you get home like 10 p.m., you start
Yeah.
your day by 5 a.m. and stuff. So that's why people say it's expensive. But if it's an issue of finances, if you can afford the laptop and internet access to YouTube, then you can literally learn any.
Right.
And honestly, I can argue this anywhere. You could learn any tech skill on YouTube. Just search how to be a front-end programmer, and you see a lot of free resources on YouTube that you could watch.
Yeah. All right. So to wrap up the conversation this morning, I've learned quite a lot. It's very delightful speaking to you on actually
Yeah,
tech.
same here.
Yeah. So to wrap up the conversation, I would like you to encourage some of our viewers who are trying to get into the tech space, trying to apply for tech jobs. Maybe mature viewers who think that, oh, I'm too old to get into the tech space. That's your camera. I would like you to advise them on what to do and how to get into this tech space.
Oh, okay. So for me, I would say start very early. If you're still in school, just start early. You really don't have to focus on learning how to write code. There are other roles like marketing, customer support. Just start very early. I would advise you jump into things around data, like data analytics, machine learning and stuff. If you're in university, start early. If you're outside school, but you're still young, like below your 30s and stuff, I would say I get the pressure you're under, so you most likely need to get like a job to keep body and soul together. But find time. What you need is about 8 hours every week to build your skill in tech. So start early, leverage YouTube. When you've leveraged YouTube, jump on online platforms where you can get like freelance gigs. Start from that. Use that to build your portfolio. Use that to build your professional experience. And after like maybe a year, 2 years, or 3 years, you start jumping for tech jobs. So that's my advice to people.
Thank you very much for coming on Tea or Coffee this morning, Ayomide. It was a delight having you speak on tech. I've learned quite a lot, and I'm sure some of our viewers at home have as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks for having me.
All right.